You're watching Toronto Sports Rush on the Bet Rivers Network.
It's Wednesdays with Keegan, in which it's almost becoming not mundane, but the usual, in which we're talking about the Blue Jays playing some great baseball. As let's start, we'll get to the Cubs game in a second. Let's start with the weekend that was in LA and how pivotal just winning one game of a series was for the fan base and this team.
Yeah, that would have been a brutal narrative couple of days if they'd lost all three. And if they had found a way to screw up the last one, especially with Jeff Hoffman walking five guys. And that would have been a big discourse week, Dan. And as a man who cannot escape discourse, I don't know if I would have enjoyed that. But a big win in that final game because the Dodgers are who they are measured up against now. You know, and I think that's representative of how this has really changed in this city. Last year, the year before, we've been talking about, are they a playoff team? That used to be a high bar. It's not anymore. If you're a playoff team, you're essentially top half of the league. It's getting close to where it is for making the playoffs in the NBA, the NHL. You're in the top half. As long as you're trying, you better make the playoffs. As long as you're spending what the Blue Jays are spending, you better make the playoffs. That doesn't excite me anymore. Now, the Blue Jays have to be compared to the very best teams. It's no longer are they the third wild card. It's are they the best team in the AL? Can they beat the Dodgers? We saw that they can, but we also saw that the Dodgers are pretty good. Breaking news, Dan, on the show. And we saw that the Dodgers can outstar you. You know, the Blue Jays, they can beat you with Ernie Clement and Mason Fluharty and all of these surprise performances. But the Dodgers, there's going to be days where they play an imperfect game, but Shohei Ohtani just decides to win. Freddie Freeman decides to win. And that can be pretty daunting in the playoffs. So it showed us some reality. Colorado, lots of fun. Beat up on a team that's not very good. But LA was some reality of what the postseason is going to look like. And it's not always as fun as playing the Rockies.
Mason Fluharty, you mentioned him. And I think back to a very good friend of mine by the name of Steve Webb. He had one huge series, one playoff series when he was with the Islanders against the Toronto Maple Leafs. And to this day, if there's ever an Islanders thing at an Islanders game, they chant his name and stuff. And he always says to me, one good series. That's all it takes. Mason Fluharty pitched half of an inning against the Dodgers, and he is now in the lore of Toronto Blue Jays magic makers. All because of what he did against Shohei and Mookie Betts. All it took was two batters for Mason Fluharty to become a Blue Jays legend.
It's amazing. That buys you some time, too. You know, and I was thinking of that same thing, Dan, at multiple points when I was doing the book, like talking to guys from the 92 and 93 teams and those great years. Like, you can suck, but if you have one moment in the right moment, your whole life changes out ahead of you. Like, you are invited, like that guy, to every alumni event, to every autograph signing, every dinner and gala at every local sports club and association. Like, you can set yourself up really nice with a well-timed double or a well-timed shutdown inning. And, man, the Blue Jays need Mason Fluharty. You know, they've been sneaky thin on lefties this year. Brendan Little's been very, very good. Watching him pitch is pretty nerve-wracking because you never know how many he's going to walk or strike out. But, man, Mason Fluharty, he's one of those names that I didn't think I'd be saying this year. And when you see him come in against Shohei Ohtani, it's like, oh, man. And Fluharty himself, he's a two-pitch guy. He has that sinking fastball and the big bending breaking ball. If I know that, Lord knows Shohei Ohtani knows that. And he was all over it for a while. But, man, that's the type of win. I was saying this yesterday to some of the guys. Like, that's the type of win where I would have loved to have seen the charter flight on the way home. Like, when the 26th man on the roster has a big moment and you beat the Dodgers, that might have been, you know, most beers of the season charter flight. Off day on Monday, too. That would have been a good place to be.
And I love how I just know because I personally posted on my Instagram story someone breaking down the Shohei at bat and said, well, he actually struck him out 3 times because they said he checked his swing. And the feedback I got from Blue Jays fans, they've now taken it upon themselves. They don't want us to win. The league's against us.
Oh, of course. The league wants the very small market of Canada to be bumped out. Get the Cincinnati Reds in there or something else. But I'm sure that someone in every market says this. I don't know if anyone likes umpire ball and strike calls complaints more than Blue Jays fans. It's
it's
I
the
made
best.
a decision a long time ago that, listen, I can either get into this or not, and for the rest of my life, I'm just never going to be the balls and strikes guy. But man, Blue Jays fans love it. It's a passion. It's important to have passions.
So if you look at the season right now, the Jays still lead the AL East, and I gave it a long, hard running through my brain, and I can't come up with, if you were to name an MVP for this team right now, an MVP for the Toronto Blue Jays at this point, who would it be? Because as we've discussed before, there's a different hero every single game.
It's a hard one, and you really need to get into the definition of valuable. It's not always best. And if I were to rank the ballot right now, I'm probably boring going Vladdy, Bo, Kirk, maybe Vladdy, Kirk, Bo. But I need to get a vote on there for someone like Eric Lauer, because I try to think of what would happen if this guy wasn't here. And, Vladdy, you go number 1, but that's where the Alejandro Kirk love needs to come in. If Kirk was not here, yes, Tyler Heideman's been fantastic in short stints, but if he was playing every day, probably a different story. And you have to say the same about Eric Lauer. It reminds me of, we've talked about this, Dan, Ross Stripling a few years ago, where he came in and saved the day. Because if Eric Lauer had not stepped in and done this, the Blue Jays would have been churning through options over and over. I would have covered 10 different pitchers in the number 5 spot, and none of them would have been good. That would have bled over into the bullpen, into the long relief arms. It would have screwed the whole thing up. Like, when you have one squeaky wheel in the rotation, it can really be contagious in a bad way. Eric Lauer's completely saved that. So whatever his value is, when you look at his wins above replacement, his ERA, his strikeout numbers, you've got to take that and multiply it. Because what if he had not been there? The amount of stress that would have been on John Schneider and Pete Walker and the pitching staff. So it's a crowded field, man. There's no obvious Cal Raleigh, Aaron Judge type, and that's kind of who the Blue Jays are. Everybody's a little bit of the MVP.
And the MVP of Tuesday night's game against the Cubs, Ernie Clement.
Ernie Clement, power hitter now.
Yeah,
and
a home run in 3 straight games.
A bunt sign, which is so Blue Jays. Number 1, that they wanted to bunt, and number 2, that something went wrong and it still went right. A guy misses a sign. Normally, if you miss a sign, you end up looking dumb. This turns into a 3-run home run. Ernie has home runs in 3 straight games, and he's not a big guy, man. He's not Vladdy, but Ernie Clement is like sneakily the best athlete on this team. Like, if you had to pick one, like if you had to, what's it called in the Olympics where they go play 10 sports?
Decathlon?
Decathlon. Ernie Clement would win that. And if you added, basketball and hockey and whatever else he's the best all-around athlete on this team. He's that guy in gym class growing up who's good at everything. And you think of him more as a contact hitter, but eventually when you make hard enough contact, it's going to go, man. And he's been really impressive lately, 3 straight.
And I can't remember the last time we had a Toronto Blue Jay, maybe Jose Bautista, where every time he stepped up, you're like, he might go yard. I have that feeling about Daulton Varsho right now.
He is built for power, man. I know Daulton Varsho is not 6'5", and that's okay. He is as strong a guy his size can be. Like, pound for pound, one of the strongest players I've ever covered. And the ability for him to turn on a ball, like him hitting a home run to right field is a very scenic thing,
It's a laser.
It is every time. There's no cheap, like, just drifting over the wall. He launches it, and it's so fun to watch. So with Varsho lately, I mean, almost half of his hits this year have been home runs. And I like that approach from him. I don't think he's ever going to be the high on base, high average guy, which is what you kind of think of or want from a speedy player. You want them to go for that approach. But if Varsho can be a Gold Glove defender and hit you 25, 28 home runs, which he's capable of, that's a hell of a baseball player. Like, that's a great, great asset. And a guy who will get paid in a couple of years, absolutely. So he's been such a great part of this. He's probably the most well-liked player on the whole team. Like, when he's back, everyone's happier. It all works more. And having him in center, again, it's another one of those revolving doors that they can stop playing with every single day. Everything's simpler and easier when Daulton Varsho's back, and he's hitting rockets, man. All year, too. Down spring training, rehab assignments, every other base hit is a home run.
Have we given up on Santander? Is that just a pipe dream at this point?
Probably.
Of him coming back?
Yeah, it's August 13th now. I haven't heard of him swinging a bat yet, and we're on week 12 of maybe he'll start swinging a bat soon. Even if he started today, that's a few weeks of being really careful with the shoulder. That's a couple weeks rehab assignment. Are you going to have a guy who struggled all year and missed most of the year come back on September 24th? Probably not. It's an awkward one. And frankly, I feel bad for Santander in this as well, man, because it's a new city after you built such a career in Baltimore. You want to fit in. You want to make a good first impression. And this has been the story all year, unfortunately. So I just hope he gets a fresh start next year, comes back healthy, comes back normal. But I still think that there's probably more to this than we know. Yeah, at the start, it was just a shoulder thing. Then one day, Ross Atkins drops, it was actually a subluxation, kind of a popping in and out, which is, okay, that's different. Then a week or two ago, John Schneider mentioned that there was some labrum stuff going on. That's a lot different and probably a little more worrying. So we're probably still one or two pieces of information away from the whole truth. Not that anyone's actively lying, but we know how injuries in pro sports work. You don't want to publish the guy's MRIs. So it's something where I'm betting in late October when we're talking to Ross Atkins about how the season went, good or bad. We probably get the answer of, well, actually what happened was this. And we all sit there and say, oh, okay, he was never coming back.
Yeah.
It's been a weird one that's dragged on, unfortunately, for everyone.
Please tell me the news is better on Shane Bieber as he tries to come back. He's the player the Jays got at the trade deadline, the big acquisition. He had Tommy John surgery. He's pitching in the minors. Is he closer? Because I can't wait to see him. He's a stud, and I can't wait to see the jersey sales when we have Bieber on the back of a Jays jersey.
This one's much better news, thankfully. So Shane Bieber is going to pitch Friday in AAA Buffalo. Big Buffalo week, Dan. I think it's Alek Manoah tonight, number one prospect Trey Savage tomorrow on Thursday, and then Shane Bieber on Friday. If you're a Buffalo person, there you go. But Bieber, I think he could make his start in the big leagues, frankly, at this point. But they have 5 good starters. They can be careful with this. Bieber will start Friday in AAA, 80, 85 pitches. And if all goes well there, which it totally should, he will make his Blue Jays debut. I would bet next week on the road, maybe in Miami, that opener in Miami on Friday.
Wow.
Which would then put him on track to come back around that next homestand. I don't know if that's against the Brewers or if that would come one start early, but that'll be big, man. I don't know if it'll be quite to the level of David Price back in August of 2015, but pretty close. Man, like you're adding a legitimate ace potential pitcher to a playoff team. You can't overstate how important and how big that is. Because Bieber, I feel like, Dan, because Bieber pitched in Cleveland, he didn't get the big national attention. But he's really, 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 really good. And if he's all the way healthy, I think he is, he's probably the Blue Jays' best starting pitcher.
This is crazy, adding that to a team that's already in first.
Amazing. It's a sneaky, incredible addition. And they gave up a big price. Cal Steven was a legitimate pitching prospect who was probably going to pitch in the majors next year for the Guardians. But the upside here is incredible. If the Blue Jays can keep Bieber beyond this year, He has a player option for next year. If he pitches well, he's out. He's in free agency, and he's getting paid. But if the Blue Jays can kind of convince Bieber, listen, this is a good place to be, stick around, one of their best deals ever. But even if they just get a month out of him and then he wins them a playoff game, fantastic. They haven't won a playoff game in a decade. You will pay any price to do that. And he's the guy who's probably going to be, if not game 1, game 2.
And then you also mentioned Alek Manoah. I completely forgot about that guy. There's a chance he's coming back to the majors?
Not this year. I don't think it makes any sense this year. He wouldn't make sense in a bullpen role. And unless multiple starters are injured, it wouldn't make sense in the rotation. That's not a knock on Alek. He's nailed this entire rehab process from start to finish. So I'm happy for him in that regard. And I think next spring is the reset. I think next spring, Dan, we're going to be talking about Manoah competing for the number 5 job, for example. And he'll probably have an inside track on that. And that's a success. If he gets back next year and is normal, like we don't need him to be the Alek Manoah we saw 3 years ago. That's a really high bar. That's a 3rd place Cy Young pitcher. But if he can come back next year, be a number 5 starter who gives them a 4.1 ERA and eats some innings, that's hugely valuable in Major League Baseball today. And that would make all of this a success. I don't think he's part of the team this year, but getting him back eventually next year, I mean, that's good news for them, good news for Alek. And ideally, if he can pitch as that number 5, that saves you some money that you spend on the top end of your rotation, not trying to slot in veterans down lower.
Well, this is all great news, my friend. The Jays, they're walking with some swagger. Is it just me, or is that bullpen? They, thanks to that Sunday win against the Dodgers, there was swagger against the Cubs. That something, maybe I'm just seeing it for the first time that they've had all season, but there's something different.
There is, man. You add Louis Varland to that bullpen, Sir Anthony Dominguez, who is not just good, but his playoff numbers are fantastic. And I believe in playoff numbers being real. Even if it's only 20 innings, I don't care. The playoffs expose you, and if you get nervous and try to do too much, you are going to get exposed right away, and your numbers will suck. Sir Anthony Dominguez has been fantastic in the postseason. Louis Varland is one of the most underrated relievers in Major League Baseball, just because he hasn't become that big name yet, getting saves, getting big appearances. He's about to. And Jeff Hoffman, Dan, Jeff Hoffman's the guy with all the swagger, honestly. And when he's walking 5 guys in LA or when he's giving up home runs early in the year, you don't see it as clearly, of course. But when Jeff Hoffman is at his best, A, he's dominant as hell, but B, he is the guy that's kind of that heartbeat in the bullpen. He's got that swagger, that real charisma to him that fits in the closer's role. And right down the list, man, you look at Yariel Rodriguez, who's maybe the most intimidating reliever or person on this roster. I love watching him pitch. It's working, man. Pete Walker's making it work, some of that magic, and it's all coming together.
We do have one problem though, Keegan, and I'm living it, and that is no one wants to miss any Blue Jays baseball. You go for a walk at night, you look in the front windows of any of the houses, everyone's watching Blue Jays baseball. My family has now said, are we just going to watch baseball every night? So I have to take a break tonight and go to medieval times.
Wow, that's not bad.
Hey, it's great.
What, it might be cheaper than going to a Jays game these days, too. It's a hard town to find a ticket in.
But the Jays are causing problems in homes now because everyone wants to watch baseball.
People are going out to medieval times to escape them. Wow.
that's right. So keep me updated, my friend.
I love it.
And I will tell you who wins at medieval times.
I hope it's your section. Enjoy a big turkey leg for me. Just make a mess.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks for watching Toronto Sports Rush on the Bet Rivers Network.